Hey,
Hey,
hey, we here. Listen, it's been a minute. Travel schedules and things have been going on, but we are here. How are you doing, Doctor?
well, cold but well.
I'm not. I can't with you in the cold. You know what? I need
Why,
to find
why do you not trust me if I say I'm cold?
because you are cold when it's 70 degrees. I cannot. I can't. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna find that picture of you when you looking like Bernie Sanders. Okay. When it was like 70 degrees outside and you had on mittens, hat, some Timberland boots. I mean, I was
with
like,
my
what is
with
going
my
on
buff- with my mittens.
here? Right. Looking like Bernie Sanders at the
Listen.
inauguration. Anyway. Oh
Oh
Lord.
God.
Hey to the people coming in. Welcome, 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 you guys. I hope you guys are doing well and well again. Um, it is the teacher project. We are back for another one, you guys. And you know what? I think if I'm not mistaken, when I looked over the articles for today, I don't think I saw Texas or Florida.
I don't think I saw Texas or Florida either.
I
Ooh,
thought, wow.
novelty days.
Wait a minute, did it take us till
Ooh.
November? Did it take us till November?
Like we need to look and make sure the good Lord is not cracking the sky
Right.
or
I think
something.
it took us till November for us
Oh,
not to have a Texas or a Florida story. Okay. For those of
let's
you
not
who are
jinx ourselves
new,
because we might read an article and they may reference
I know,
Texas
right?
or
We better,
Florida
yeah,
in the
we better
article.
watch ourselves, right? If um if you are new to the Teacher Project 2.0, this is an channel that is for, about, and run by educators of color. It is about extending information and knowledge to people about education. And we focus on students of color and students who are part of the LGBTQIA community. So if you are new here, welcome. Like, subscribe, share, do all of the things. And we are getting ready to get into some things today. Um, you want to where you want to start? You want to start with the charter schools? Do you want to start
Let's
with
start right
protest?
in the deep end. Start right with Congress, the Senate. Let's get that over with. I
Okay.
because I feel like that's gonna consume a lot. So
Okay.
yeah, let's get to
Let me get
college. Let's go to college campuses. Let's do that first.
all right.
Dive right in.
We are definitely diving in the deep end with that one.
Hmm.
All right. As always, you guys, I will put the links in the chat and I will attach the links in the I think I forgot to do it last week, but I'll go back and make sure I get that done. But I will include the links in the description box so you guys can um, follow along or do your own research and look it up and all that good stuff. All right. So
Hey
let me
everybody in
put
the
a disclaimer. Hey, everybody coming in. I'm going to put a disclaimer before we get into this article. This is not an endorsement of one side or the other. This is a conversation about protest and rights. Okay. Okay. Because that ain't this channel. And I don't want to get into all. November is the best month. I wonder if that's the month you were born, Yana. Hey, Cookie. It's the best month, huh? Okay. All right, you guys. So this article, it is coming to you guys from Left Voice. It is dated November the 1st of 2023. And it is titled The Senate is Demonizing Pro-Palestine Protests at Universities. They're scared of our power. So let me read you guys this article. The Howley resolution passed unanimously in the Senate, and it demonizes students, faculty, and staff for organizing at universities to end the genocide in Gaza for a free Palestine. U.S. politicians are demonizing the university movement because they are afraid of the power of the anti-imperialist students, faculty, and staff. Just one day after over 100 college campuses organized protests to end the siege in Gaza, the Senate unanimously passed a resolution led by hard right bigot Josh, I'm sorry, Josh Howley. And we know, we if y'all don't remember him, he's the person that gave the white power symbol the morning of January 6th as he walked to work. Okay. Um, This comes as Israel begins a ground invasion and for over 24 hours completely cut off all electricity in Gaza. Over 8,000 Palestinians have been murdered in the latest chapter of a Zionist ethnic cleansing. The Howley resolution is not actually about anti Semitism or protesting Jewish people. It's about attempting to crush an insurgent student movement that has taken center stage in the struggle for Palestine. In his speech promoting the resolution, Howley argued that protests for Palestine called for genocide of Jews despite the overwhelming peaceful nature of the protests and the fact that a Jewish people, especially Jewish youth, are mobilizing as part of the protest through organizations like If Not Now and Jewish Voice for Peace. Howley went so far as to suggest that Jewish students get escorted to class by the National Guard and declared that saying genocide is wrong isn't that hard. Okay. Howley is right. There is a genocide and it's being committed by the state of Israel with the active support of the United States and Senate resolutions like this one. Look at the facts. Over 8,000 Palestinians have been murdered by Israel. Half of the homes in Gaza have been destroyed. The IDF is dropping chemical weapons and the Israeli regime is keeping aid out of Gaza. There is no clean drinking water. Pointing out the genocide that is being committed against the Palestinians is not anti-Semitism. The Jewish Left Voice member Sam Colliner explains, as long as there has been Zionism, there has been anti-Zionist Jews. Judaism long predates Zionism, which was created in the last 19th century and was for decades a marginal ideology among Jewish people. The Zionist state of Israel was created in the 1940s as an imperialist foothold for ideology among Jewish people. I'm sorry, I just read the same sentence. For Western powers in the Middle East and exists as an apartheid ethos state which enacts an ongoing and horrific violence against the Palestinians. Opposing that does not mean hate or discrimination against Jewish people. Indeed, a key defining aspect of the current movement for Palestine has been that hundreds of thousands of Jewish people all over the country are making it clear that anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism through participating in protests, leading mass civil disobedience actions, and releasing statements. They are standing on the side of Palestine and saying clearly, not in our name, not in our name, the genocide, not in our name, the Howley resolution. They are standing up and getting arrested for speaking out and protesting the genocide. Um, the article goes on. I think we got the gist of it because it gets into some speeches and things of that nature. So, what you got to say, sir?
And I'm going to try to frame my argument without going taking a deep dive into the merits of this this war, but on the merits of the topic at hand. First of all, anytime you have something, and Josh Howley is the leader of it, and he's the figurehead, and he's the one that's full throated behind it, it should automatically give you pause. You should automatically question it, second guess it, say to yourself, wait a minute, who authored this? Who is here for this? That's just as a general rule. Secondly, we've always applauded young people in any movement for their audacity. The audacity of youth is something that has been at the forefront of almost every major political movement, civil rights movement, all movements, the audaciousness and audacity of young people. College campuses used to be the birthplace of many of these movements, the birthplace of
Absolutely.
progressive sentiments, ideologies, the place
Absolutely.
where you could freely express viewpoints that may have been counter to what our government might have been saying, counter to what the vast majority of the mainstream media was saying. Without a lot of these protests over the history of college campuses, a lot of information would not have been put out there. A lot of movements would not have grown any legs. And and so we're at the point now where we are truly, and we've been saying this for the last few years, they are truly trying to transform these yet to be United States of America into some authoritarian, country. Like there's no more freedom and right to express yourselves. There's no more um, right to be counter to or to give the opposing side. It just baffles my mind. It really baffles my mind because here is one of the few places where you have both sides coalescing together. You have Palestinians and Israeli people. You have Jewish people and Palestinians together protesting, saying, we need a ceasefire. You can't even get that over there, which goes to the point that many people like Josh Hawley want no parts of there to be peace. They want no parts of there to be, the compromise or coalescing or in anything. They want no parts of that. None at all. And I'm trying not to delve. You see me, I'm teetering really good. I'm trying not to delve and dive into the merits of the war. But back to this, why is Congress, why is this your thing that you want to come together on and be bipartisan about? There's so many other things that you could be focusing on being bipartisan about, Congress. Some of them we may talk about today. But you want to be bipartisan about maintaining division, divisiveness, maintaining, strife, fear mongering, all types of discrimination and bigotry. You want to stop people from what is traditionally opposing sides from unifying, coming together and saying, hey, we're here for peace. We're here for the humanity of human beings. Hell, almost 4,000 children. We're not even talking about the women and elderly folks. Children alone have been slaughtered and murdered. And that is not a reason. You're talking about more children were murdered in this war so far than was murdered, than all of the people murdered in all of 9/11. Children. I mean, and you have a problem with people saying that that needs to stop. We have an issue, and this, and I'm gonna end with it. The sad part is, it ain't just one side; it's both sides, full throated on this, full throated. Go ahead, really be.
No, like I said, I'm not giving any opinions on the actual war itself, other than to say do your research and know your history. And that's I'm gonna leave it at that. But what I will say is, again, I find it funny when people always want these constitutional rights until these constitutional rights hurt their feelings. So the same person, a Josh Hawley, will probably lay down in front of the Supreme Court steps if they ever talked about the Second Amendment. Yet you want to pass whole resolutions stopping people from their First Amendment right, which is the right to the freedom of speech and the right to, for free assembly. That's not the First Amendment, but I mean freedom of speech is, but free assembly isn't. But all I'm saying is I just find it very interesting that whenever it's something that is gonna hurt your feelings, now all of a sudden we have a problem with it. But you don't have no problem with people walking into schools with weapons and open fire, or walking into concerts or walking into, arenas or grocery stores or wherever they're doing it with these things. You don't have a problem when other rights are, when your rights are going to be violated. But these students are simply freaking protesting. They're protesting, you know,
peacefully.
right? That's what I'm saying. Well, yeah, I didn't say that part. Peacefully protesting, whether you agree or disagree. Again, I ain't arguing with how you feel. Well, whether you agree or disagree about this war, anything else. I mean, that's just like Black Lives Matter. That's just like whether you agree or disagree, they have a right to peacefully protest and to assemble. And again, I don't think people are really, nobody cares until it's done. And I don't think people really understand the amount of rights that they are losing, that they just take for granted. I don't think people are paying attention to, I mean, something as simple. I mean, like you said, when you think about, I mean, I can just go back to the 1960s. I don't have to go back any further than that. But when we think about the women's right movement, when we think about the anti-Vietnam protests, when we think about, obviously civil rights, when we think about Native Americans, when we think about the Chicano protests out in LA, all of that had its bedrock on college campuses. You know, I don't understand how people are okay with us getting here. Because again, it's not about agreeing or disagreeing. It's about protecting the right. Because here's what's going to happen next week or next month or even next year. It might be something you do care about. And now you've passed these resolutions and these rules and these procedures, and then you're going to be wondering why it can't happen. Well, this is how we get here. This is how we get here. You know what I'm saying?
Really, I forgot to mention we had at Harvard where you have multiple student groups that put out letters calling for ceasefires and saying, that there was wrongdoing on both sides. And they
Right.
began to dox the students. They had that the truck with the billboards with the digital billboards on the side of it, doxing all of the students that were on there, putting out their names, addresses, social security numbers, and all of that, and driving it all around campus, doxing people simply because they said, hey, we need to think about the fact that there are innocent people losing lives. This is where we are right now in these yet to be United States of America. Like, really? That's scary times. Scary.
But we have created this environment. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it's always been there, but the venom, the level of venom that comes along with it. I mean, people, nobody likes to hear things that are contrary to how they feel, but just I don't know.
I think, what I think is happening over in Congress. It used to be a situation in Congress where there were always the adults in the room and that would tell the people, hey, we can't do that. Hey, 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 hey. I understand you're passionate, but calm down. We just can't go that far. On both sides, there were always people on both sides saying, "Hey, you that's just a little too far. We can't go that. I mean, you're just out of order." And there's no adults in the room anymore. There are no adults in the room anymore. It's just a free for all. You just do whatever you
Right.
want to do.
It's just spoiled brats throwing tantrums. You
Hmm.
know, that was, and I mean, I know I'm about to go way left right here, but I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna move on to the next article. That was my issue with Meghan McCain on The View. My issue with Meghan McCain on The View wasn't that we had different political ideologies. My problem was that she was a spoiled brat about her. And I think if anybody who watched The View those years that Meghan McCain was on there, you'll understand what I mean. It's like, if I can't have my way, or if I can't get you to agree with me, I'm just going to browbeat you until you do. I'm going to beat you over the head until you submit and you admit that I'm right and you're wrong. And I think that's just where we are right now as a society. And then we wonder why the kids don't know how to act. You know, that's a valid point, Fran. Nobody's reaching across the aisle anymore. You know, shoot, within the Republican Party, they're not even reaching inside of the aisle. I mean, we only have to look at this latest episode with them trying to get a speaker. I mean, anyway, that's wrong show. All right, next article, because we can do that. Look, we can go left. We can walk down
You
that
know,
road.
I'm itching to go someplace, but I ain't gonna go to.
I
We'll
know,
be
I
doing that
know.
at
Let's get to
5:35 on my
let's
channel.
get to the next article.
We'll be doing that at 5:35 on my channel.
Right, El Teddy will. Are you doing a run your mouth or a politics of it all
I'm doing
today?
the politics of it all today.
Oh, well, see, he's gonna get all the politics over there today. All right. Do we want to do public school kids losing thousands to school choice, or do we want to talk about special ed services, or do we want to talk about? I want to do the teacher strike last. I think. What do you want to do?
Let's do public schools losing.
All right, let's do this. You know, we always are here for a good school choice article.
Oh yeah. I don't know if it's my
So
internet or your internet. Really be what I is it my is my internet slowing down? Because every now and again your internet kind of goes roid rage robotic. Every
that might be my internet. Yeah, the warning didn't come up, but it was acting up last night. You know, the temperatures. Can you
Mhm. No, I'm
can
no,
you
I'm
hear me?
here. I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, the temperatures are dropping. So I don't know if that's my wonky internet or not. So I'm sorry, you guys.
Like I said, it
So
may
the
be
article
mine.
now, here's a state that we don't mention often. We have mentioned it from time to time, but we don't mention it often. But hey, we have Indianapolis. Indianapolis has
Oh,
stepped into the
oh,
realm.
y'all
Okay,
want
this
some of the
article
smoke?
is
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
from the Indy Star. It is dated November the 1st of 2023.
Indiana trying to step into the octagon. Come on, Indiana, we here for it.
Listen, yes, Indiana. So, traditional public schools in Indiana have been steadily losing enrollment in the state's competitive educational market, according to two new reports from Indiana University Center for Evaluation and Education Policy that examine enrollment trends for the past 16 years. Nearly 70% of Indiana's 286 traditional public school corporations saw the number of students enrolled decline from 2006 to 2022. For the most part, urban school districts have lost the most students, while non-public schools receive just over half of the student transfers in recent years due to Indiana's Choice Scholarship Program. Now, listen, we have talked about these choice scholarship type programs in the past, okay? The second report found that 47% of students who left public school corporations in the fall of 2022 transferred to another public school option, such as a charter school. A loss of student enrollment also means a loss of school funding, which in turn can mean fewer resources for school districts to spend on their students. The question then becomes: Are schools in a position as their are excuse me, are schools in a position as their financial base arose to make substantial changes to improve opportunities for the kids that are still in those schools who aren't choosing to go elsewhere? That's a really fancy way of saying when the kids leave and we lose money and we lose resources, are we in a position to still provide for the students that are left in a meaningful way? Um, let me go back to the article. Oops, I lost the article. Wait a minute. Sorry, y'all. Did I close out the article? My bad, y'all. Hold on. Give me a second. I must have closed the article instead of changing it. Okay. Sorry. Which schools are losing students? The Indianapolis Public School District lost 15,527 students in the past 16 years, more than 41% of its student body, More than any other district in the state, IPS is one of the largest school districts in the state. Other major urban areas like Gary Community Schools and South Bend Community Schools have also seen significant drop in enrollment. Gary Community Schools dropped by 73%, as increase in choice policies were passed by the state legislature in recent years that helped fuel this trend. Lawmakers wanted to create an environment that is informed by parental choice and at the same time are less of a focus on equitable funding for schools that are serving a large portion of disadvantaged students. So it's not surprising that families are leaving and looking for other options. Indiana's funding formula for school has shifted over the years to focus on increasing the base amount that each district receives based on enrollment and decreasing the amount of funding given to districts based on their at-risk populations. Wait, what? I'm sorry. Let me read that one more time. Indiana's funding formula for schools has shifted over the years to focus on increasing the base amount that each district receives based on enrollment. So they're increasing it based on enrollment and decreasing the amount given to districts based on their at-risk population. So you decreasing money to schools with more of an at-risk population. Did I read that right? Did I comprehend that correctly? El Teddy, are you there? Is my internet out? Oh, okay. No, my internet is acting funky. I'm sorry. I think it is
I'm
my
sorry, I
internet,
was
y'all.
on mute.
Oh, so I'm saying, did I comprehend that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to keep reading. Okay. From 2021 to 2023, 4 Marion County school districts were among the top 20 schools in the state with the greatest enrollment loss. Washington Township with 390 students, Perry Township with 380 students, Wayne Township with 257 students, and Pike Township with 244 students. I know somebody that works in Pike Township. In the last 16 years, 14 of the 25 school corporations in Indiana with the largest enrollment growth sit mostly in the suburbs surrounding Indianapolis. Surprise, surprise. Hamilton Southern Schools show the largest growth in the last 16 years, gaining 7,381 students. Franklin Township Community School Corporation, which gained 3,394 students, saw the largest growth in Marion County. 2 outliers stood out among the top 25 school corporations in the largest percentage growth enrollment. Union School Corporation and Clarksville Community School Corporation started online schools in 2018 and 2019, leading to the increase. Union School Corporation saw 1,420% change, not people, a 1,420% change. I didn't even know you could go that child in enrollment growth in the last 16 years, while Clarksville Community Schools saw a 167% enrollment growth. The next largest percentage growth after that was Westfield Washington Schools with 75% growth. More on suburban school growth. Clarksville and Union School Corporation also have the highest net overall enrollment increase at 2,685 students and 900 respectively. And they just want to talk about the different counties and the numbers. All right, where are the students going? The second report published looks at students' transfer data. While many Indiana public school districts see their students leave for other public schools, more students overall transfer using Indiana's Choice Scholarship Program or private school voucher program. Out of the top 25 public school corporations that saw the most transfers to non-public schools, 8 are Marion County districts, with IPS leading the way with 4,184 students. In total, 11,364 students who live within Marion County public school boundaries transferred to a private school via a voucher program in the fall of 2022. Students who live within the Fort Wayne Community School boundary had the most transfers to a non-public school in the state with 5,159. Here's here's who loses in the private school voucher program. Overall, 52,674 students in Indiana used a private school voucher in the fall of 2022. 52,000 students in the state of Indiana used the voucher program. In Indianapolis, Rancalli High School received the most vouchers of 655 students. The report also found that 46,393 students transferred from a traditional public school to a charter school in the fall of 2022. The Indiana Connections Academy, an online K through 12 charter school, received the most transfers at 5,863 students. So a lot of these kids are going to an online school. Okay. The brick and mortar charter school in Indianapolis that received the most transfers is the Huron Charter School Network. It has two high schools with 997 students. Some of the traditional public school districts also gain students from other districts through choice programs. And then it goes on to talk about the different schools and the numbers. I think y'all are getting the point. All right, we're almost done. Why do families pick their schools? A recently released survey of more than 2,000 Marion County parents found that people approve of school choice. The report was produced by the Mind Trust, an Indianapolis-based nonprofit that has helped cultivate charter schools in Indianapolis and empower ed families and education-focused parent advocacy nonprofit. Keep up with the school news. Oh, then it goes on to talk about you can join their newsletter. Out of the 2,000 survey responses, 1,300 were charter. The report says that 75% of survey respondents believe government leaders should enact policies that help parents make the best decisions for their child's education. A majority of charter innovation school parents report being pleased with their school choice, and 67% said they will recommend their school to another family.
Is it my turn?
Go for it.
At this point, and I think I said this the last time we talked about it, let them have it. Because many of these parents are riddled and mired in flawed choicing skills. And it's one thing for you to make the wrong choice in terms of where we're going to eat tonight than the wrong choice in where your child's going to be educated. Because if y'all want to go over there to these charter schools that are subpar, where you have people that are non certified, where you have some of them people don't even have degrees, okay? If you want to go over there, let them have it. The toothpaste is out of the tube now. It's never going back in the tube. You want it, you got it. However, what I do think that they should do is, I think that there should be a stipulation that says if you want to use a school choice, you got to stay in that school for at least 2 years. I ain't gonna say you got to stay over there for the duration of their high school or the duration of their middle school, but make them stay 2 years. None of this, oh, I don't like that one, so I'm gonna go over here this month. I'm gonna go over there that month. I'm gonna go over there that month, because you're never gonna be satisfied. And you're gonna end up finding out that the grass isn't greener over there. I'm gonna give you the restaurant thing again. A lot of restaurants, the advertising looks great. It looks wonderful. Somebody might have even told you about it. But we just saw this weekend with the Keith the Lee stuff. When you go and you really go to the place, you find out, yeah, this ain't it. This ain't it. And so my thing is, if you want to play this game with your child's education, go ahead, have it. But don't come back having buyer's remorse because we tried to tell you. We really did. I mean, these people, and here's the other scary part, really, be. These are the same people who will take their child. No, this is what they'll do. They'll go to the school board meeting. They'll do all of the ranting, raving, cussing, kicking, and fighting to get all of the rules changed for the public school kids, get all of the books banned, get all of the curriculum changed. And then the month later, they pulling their child and taking them to a private school or a charter school and leave your child over here with the foolishness. That's what you got going on. Go ahead.
So I agree with you when you say just let them have it, because at this point, child, line that bed you making, okay? But I think what people aren't understanding is that there are a lot of layers when we talk about school choice. And I've mentioned some of it before. Do I think that our public school system, as it is set up in today's world, is effective for the best education? No, it's not. And I've said that, right? But I think what people don't understand about the way this school choice charter school situation works, and not so much the private schools, because the private schools, I am going to put them in a different category, but I'm going to talk about the charter schools. First of all, y'all are being sold a bill of goods. A charter school is a public school. And I think a lot of times people think that a charter school is some private school that they're getting something that their kids won't get at the neighborhood school. A lot of these charter schools, and I'm not speaking for every school. There's some great charter schools out there. Let me be clear. Just like there's some great public schools. But a lot, in my experience, I have seen where they make you look real pretty. Like El Teddy said, they put in a real pretty package. And then when you open it up and you peel back the layers, you realize it really ain't that much different than the school you pulled your child out of, if you want to know the truth about it. A lot of people, I think it was people were shocked over here, El Teddy, when I first told them that a lot of teachers in charter schools aren't certified teachers. A lot of people were like, "What? Not certified? What?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm not saying all of them aren't, but I have friends who couldn't pass the praxis. For those who don't know, that's the exam you have to take to get your teacher's license in every state. It's like the bar exam. Everybody has to take the bar now. Each state has different numbers that you have to hit, but everybody got to take the bar exam. And that's what the praxis is. I have friends who can't pass the praxis, and so they go to a charter. They are not certified. That doesn't mean they're not good teachers. They're just not certified. Um, so with that being
But the
said,
same argument could be made. Oh, my doctor's not certified, but he's a good doctor.
right? Yeah, yeah. Same thing with a lawyer. Like, oh well, they know the law. Well, they're not licensed to practice. It just is what it is. So there are a lot of layers to this. But what I think this article, I'm just going to stick to this article. What I don't think people understand about what's going on in Indianapolis as it relates to these numbers, it is now impacting everything that goes on at that neighborhood public school. It is impacting staffing. It is impacting resources and materials. It is impacting technology. Hell, it's impacting facilities. You know, something as simple as getting a fresh paint, a coat of paint on the school. Well, go ahead.
I
What were you
think
going to
also
say?
really be one of the things that the article highlighted was a good number of these kids are going to online schools. And the thing
Mm-hmm.
about it is, many of these online schools don't have the same amount of staff and faculty. They just have facilitators because they expect a lot of the students, especially when you get to middle school age, to be self-directed. And they put them in these programs where the student is self-directed and they got to follow these modules and stuff like that. And they're left to themselves. We're living in a day of chat GPT and AI and all kinds of stuff. You really think that it's going down like that in these online schools?
Yep. Two things I'm
And
going
that
to say,
also
and then
means
we
less
can.
teacher jobs. That also means less
Well,
jobs
yeah.
for teachers.
Oh yeah, it definitely means less doubt. Yeah, that's how may have affected staffing. Two things I'm gonna say. I'm gonna answer your question, SJ's question. Um, I have a friend of mine who put her 5-year-old daughter in online school. It's a charter school. I mean, it's a I'm sorry, not a charter. well, it is a charter school. It's an online school. Her 5-year-old daughter, right? Um, she basically is teaching her daughter. She was like, she's like, I feel like I am back in school. Like, and yes, the work is effective and my daughter's learning and yada yada yada. But the amount of time that she is taking out, and she works from home, so she kind of has that luxury. But the amount of time out of her day that she is taking to work with her child, I mean, to the point where they're working almost 6 days a week sometimes because they're getting behind. Because again, she does work from home, so she can't always sit there. But and I know that that's an extreme example, but there are people who are putting their kids in online school that young. Um, so yeah. Now to answer your question, SJ says, are the charter schools typically accredited? What's the attraction? So it goes state to state. I know in DC there was a charter school board, and then there was the regular school board. So charter schools, you apply for your charter, you went through the charter board, you had to get it approved. There was certain criteria, yada yada yada, and then you had to be monitored, and then you had to go back for accreditation. So are they accredited? I can speak again through my experience. They are accredited through whatever that board is, and it goes state to state. It's not a universal answer. And when you say accredited, I guess what do you mean accredited as it relates to what the state standard is? Because remember, one thing that El Teddy and I we one thing a lot of people learned during the pandemic was there is no universal. It's a state to state, county to county system here in the United States. That's why Donald Trump could not force schools to open. He could not force the kids to go back to school because the Department of
Schools are
Education does
governed by
not.
the state. Hmm.
Right. So when you say accredited, that's a state to state conversation.
The
So I
other
don't know
thing
what state.
is the reason, and another reason the state to state, you'll hear some states talk about independent school districts, and
Right.
then you'll hear some states just say school districts. When you hear independent school districts, they can change and alter things by the county or by that individual school districts. Whereas in other states where they say so and so public schools, they have a set of rules that are governed that they're governed by their state Department of Education. And there's some there's some things that they can do on the local level, but there are some across the board things that they have to satisfy and have to meet in order to confer diploma. So in terms of accreditation, it goes to you being able to confer a diploma, a high school diploma. And there are many different entities that give you the authority to do that. If you're a public school, um, that comes via the state and that state Department of Education. If you are a charter school, like Really B said, it's still state to state because you have some charter boards. Some boards for the charter schools fall under the State Department of Education. Some of them don't, and they're their own separate entity. And but there are some requirements that any school that's going to confer diplomas have to meet in order to be able to. So, in terms of accreditation, there are there's some standard that they have to meet. There is a line that they have to meet.
Yeah. And that's why it's a state to state thing. Like I said, when I was in DC, I worked both public and charter. And I know at one point in time, right, with No Child Left Behind, there was an implosion of charter schools within DC, and people were getting approved to open up a charter school. I mean, there was some extreme examples. I know off the top of my head, like the one thing you had to do was be able to show that you could recruit 100 students. And I mean, of course, you had to have a curriculum and that kind of thing. But that was, I mean, it really wasn't much more than that. I mean, we had people who had charter schools on top of churches and basements of schools. We had charters that were sharing buildings with each other. Like it was, oh my gosh, it was a lot. And then the charter board had to sort of kind of clamp down because there was so many just charter schools everywhere. So you would have to look at your individual state and see what it is in this state. Um, yeah. All right. We have time for one more, and we can carry these other two articles over to next week. Student loans ain't going nowhere. But
Let's do
which
the
one do
strike.
you want to do next,
We
sir?
said we were going to do
Do
the
you want to
strike last.
do?
We said we
All
were
right,
going
we're
to do
going
the
to do the
strike
strike. So
last.
we'll do. Right, we'll do the special ed, and okay, we'll do the special ed, and we'll
Special
do
ed
the
is on next week.
student loan. We'll do that next week. All right, let's get into this teacher strike. Yeah, I think I have a delay now. All right. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because I upgraded my internet and I feel like I'm having more problems now that I've upgraded. It's crazy. Anyway, so here's the article that we are I'm always here for solidarity with teachers that are protesting. So this is Portland. This is Portland. This article is written November the 1st. Portland, Oregon. This is coming from the Associated Press. Teachers in Portland, Oregon walked off the job on Wednesday for the first day of a strike that shuttered schools for some 45,000 students in Oregon's largest city. Concerns over large class sizes, salaries that haven't kept up with inflation, and a lack of resources prompted the strike. One of the latest signs of a growing organized labor movement in the United States that has seen thousands of workers in various sectors take to the picket line. Our kids deserve more than teachers that are absolutely exhausted at the end of their ropes, said Tara Trapido, a special education teacher at Kellogg Middle School. The Portland Association of Teachers, which represents more than 4,000 educators, says it was the first ever strike in the school's district. The union first ever teacher strike, excuse me. The union has been bargaining with the district for months for a new contract after its previous one expired in June. Portland Public Schools said the union's proposal would create hundreds of millions of dollars in additional spending and result in potential staffing cuts. Oregon lawmakers approved in June a record $10.2 billion K through 12 budget for the next 2 years, but school district representative says even that wasn't enough. Funding has not kept pace with the needs of our students nor our educators. Superintendent Guadalupe Guerrero told reporters on Wednesday, we strive to offer a compensation that attracts and retains talent. But sorry, a pop-up. But unlike a private organization, we don't have record profits that we can tap into. Schools are closed and there is no classroom or online instruction during the strike. Guerrero said that the district is scheduled to meet with the union and a state mediator on Friday. Teachers held signs, chanted, and rallied the crowd with bullhorns outside of Kellogg Middle School on Wednesday morning as cars passed and honked in support. Educators said they feel overwhelmed by the workload and what they described as a lack of support in the classroom. Trapido said she regularly works through her lunch break and continues once she gets home until about 8 or 9 o'clock. She often relies on volunteers to help her with her students. She walks in and I'm just like, thank goodness. With the volunteers' help, she says she can help a kid go to the bathroom, get herself a drink of water, which she might not have had all day, or help a group that she hasn't had a chance to work with. Katrina Juarez, an 8th grade language arts teacher at Kellogg Middle, says she often stays at school until 7 p.m. to get her work done. Doctors have suggested that she quit because the toll the job has taken on her mental health. I feel like I'm failing them if I'm not putting that time in, she says, but I'm really harming myself and my family in the process. Mike Bauer, a union representative and student and special education teacher at Cleveland High School, said teachers were stressed out about the strike but felt it was the right way to advocate for their students. He said that smaller class sizes will both lighten educators' workload and help them give students more individualized attention if they're struggling. It's about the kids, Bauer, who's been teaching in Portland for nearly 20 years. It's about the sustainability of the job and longevity of our jobs. Question of pay, particularly for teachers just starting their career, have also been raised as the cost of living has increased in Portland. The annual base salary in district starts at roughly $50,000. I've seen many people quit within their first 5 years. At the end of the day, we need teachers. Nearly 2 weeks ago, the union announced that 99% of teachers voted in favor of the labor action, with 93% of its membership participating in the ballot. That's a lot. That's high. 99%? That's a lot. After the union voted to authorize a strike, the district said it wanted to reach a fair settlement. We asked our teachers to stay at the table with us, not to close schools, it said in an emailed statement on October the 20th. Oregon Governor Tina Kotic had urged the union and the school district to come to an agreement to avoid the walkout. Public education has been gripped by a series of high profile strikes this year. And the Los Angeles Unified School District, the nation's second largest, workers, including teachers' aides, cafeteria workers, and custodians, walked out for 3 days in March to demand better wages and increased staffing, shutting down education for a half a million students. In Oakland, California, a union representing teachers, counselors, librarians, and other workers went on strike for more than a week in May. In addition to typical demands, such as higher salaries, it also pushed for common good changes, such as reparations for Black students. Reparations? For, for Black students and resources for students who are homeless. I'm sorry. Reparations.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
yes, reparations.
I'm sorry. That took me by. Okay, that's the end of the article. I'm sorry, I got stuck at reparations. That's the end of the article. Ooh, that threw me off a little bit. Reparations.
Now, before I go into the the way
Reparations.
that I normally would go with this, because me and Really B share similar sentiments on this. We always stand behind our teachers. But I want to take a different angle at this. I'm going to play devil's advocate and take a different angle. My devil's advocate and different angle is Really B. When you and I started teaching, we're from a different generation. And the generation of teachers are the young teachers now are either late millennials, early Gen Zers. Okay. And so they have a whole different mentality about work ethic, about what they will and will not do. I know on my channel, I've talked about many places that have been accused of having a hostile work environment. And, oh, they yelled at me while I was at my job and now I'm under mental duress. You know what I'm saying? They seem to be a little more fragile. They seem to be a little more, delicate. And so that coupled with, I think it's a perfect storm. You got that going on, along with the fact that school districts, excuse my French, you just ain't shit no more. I'm just sorry. I had to put it blatantly. And they are less staffed because of the stuff we just talked about in the previous article. They do want more. So you got this perfect storm of these fragile young teachers, and then the school districts and administration wanting to put more on teachers because they have less personnel. But now we have this perfect storm of just everything's exploding at this time. Just everything is just like, you know what? Yeah, it's 99%. We all here. Because it was commonplace, really, be when we first started. And I know you started, before me, but it was commonplace. You knew it. Yeah, I'm gonna be here till about 6:37. Yeah, I'm gonna be here. Either that or I'm just gonna have to take this good work home. That especially in your first few years, as you were, getting a handle of it, learning the ropes, learning how to handle, what assignments to grade, what assignments not to grade, what assignments to give, how to tackle grading a lot of papers. It's I know especially for English teachers with all the writing we give. And so I just think that to a certain degree, a lot of that is lost with some of the younger and newer teachers that just are saying, I'm not doing that. Not that they don't have the right to say that, and not that it's not valid that school districts and administrations absolutely are putting more on teachers. But I think both things can be happening at the same time to create this perfect storm.
I agree, but I think I agree, but I see it a little. I agree. But I also feel like I think the I feel like we say this 50 times a day. Well, not a day, I'm exaggerating. But I feel like we say this at least one time in every show we do. The pandemic changed a lot. And I think the pandemic really made people realize I really don't have to take this.
Mm-hmm.
Mental health became a buzzword during the pandemic. And I say buzzword, I don't mean that in any disrespectful way. I know mental health is real, but I feel like a lot of times, just like anything else, we throw it out, we don't really understand what it means. So when people say, oh, it's affecting my mental health, or I need a mental health day, that doesn't mean you don't need it. That doesn't mean it isn't real. But I agree with you that I think that the pandemic made us aware that just because this is the way it's always been doesn't mean that it's right and that's the way it has to be. You're right. My first couple of years of teaching, I never left school on time. If I
Right.
left school on time, it was an anomaly. Like Fridays
Baby,
was usually the day that I would leave. Yeah, it was
yep.
it was usually Fridays for me. And when I did
Because
leave
you would go to
on time
happy hour
Fridays,
with
like
your
you said,
coworkers.
right. And when I did leave Friday on time, I had bags of papers because when I first
Yep.
started teaching, I was teaching English as well. So I literally would spend the whole weekend grading papers, doing lesson plans. And it is just, I mean, I hate to say it, it's just one of those jobs. Like it doesn't stop. It just because even when you think you're done, because here's the
You're
thing
not.
about education, it starts all over again on Monday. You can do everything. I can have my lesson plans for the week. I can have all my papers graded for the week. But guess what? Next week it's gonna be all I gotta start all over again. Um, but I will say this as somebody who was there before, during, and after, it's worse. It's worse. Um, it's worse.
That's why I say you
And
could have both things happening at the same time.
yeah,
It could
I
happen
agree. I agree.
worse,
I agree.
and you could absolutely have some people that's just way too delicate and fragile.
Yeah, I now listen. I'm gonna say this, and see this where I here's where it's not politically correct. Listen, and I know this is a nasty word that I'm about to say, El Teddy, but you would definitely understand what I mean. Sometimes you just gotta be hazed up a little bit. I mean, I, I mean, sometimes you just gotta be hazed up a little
Yeah.
bit.
Some things it builds character. It builds character.
It
You
does.
gotta pay your dues. Certain things
I
you
mean,
gotta learn.
you really do. And I think, but here's the difference, and I'm gonna say this for me. I was hazed up I'll say my first 2 years of teaching. I got the worst kids, I got the worst classroom. I was the last person to get a teacher's manual. So I didn't even have a teacher's manual for one of my classes. Because the teacher's manuals are the first thing that disappear when we get new books. So, I didn't even have a teacher's manual for one of my classes. Um, but here was the difference. I had veteran teachers in the building that helped me and showed me the ropes and let me borrow their resources, let me use their resources. And especially
Or
once they got,
or better yet, you would ask for help sometimes too. Hey,
yeah,
can y'all help me, please?
yeah. I mean, and once they got to know me and they really trusted me, then they would let me borrow that teacher's edition that they had hidden in their classroom.
Because they got three of them. They got three of them.
They got
Hmm.
rid of 'em.
They
But I
got
think
three of them.
that But I think that's what's missing because we have, and I hate to say her name, but I can only speak from my experience. When you have people like Michelle Reed that came
I knew
into,
it was coming.
I haven't said her name in a while. I haven't said her name in a while.
Oh my God, I knew it was coming.
I haven't said her name in a while. And I'm going to be quick because I know you got to go. Shut up. But when you have people
Oh
like Michelle Reed who went into a school system and had no value for veteran teachers and no respect and pushed those people out of the school to bring in these Teach for America No disrespect to anybody that went through Teach for America, but who went through these programs. And now fast forward 15, 10 years later, now you have this constant overturn of school leadership and teachers. And so you don't have that foundation. There was a foundation at the school where I worked when I first got there. Yeah, they hazed me up a little bit, but then they loved on me. And they would not let me fail. And they made sure that they had my back. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that that's what's missing. So a lot of these teachers, they're not getting a lot of that they need.
Mm.
But I feel like we went left with that. But anyway,
Yeah, those first few years, yeah, you gonna get A's. You gonna wear. You gonna get
oh
some
yeah,
stripes.
yeah,
You gonna wear it. Mm-hmm. People gonna be
exactly. Yeah,
laughing at you.
Monty,
Oh,
right, Marty.
you got little Bobo over there. Mm-hmm. Have fun with him.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But then they'll tell you, but then they'll say, look, I told his mama, and you call her after 6 o'clock, and I'm gonna give you the number to da 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 da, and I'm gonna let you boom 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 boom. And so yeah, they like you said that they gonna they I can't even get the words out. They had your back, but they was gonna put you through the fire. Because let me tell you something. I had a teacher at my school, I'll never forget, older white guy, wore a cowboy hat, cowboy boots, a white starched shirt, and blue jeans every day. Every day. That is what he wore to work every day. He drove an old beat up pickup truck. He didn't even speak to me the first year. When I say he didn't speak, and I thought he was racist and everything. I said, oh, racist. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, I talked about him like a duck because he was in my department. He was an English teacher. He would not speak to me. That next year, I came back. We had our back to school meeting, and he said, hey, Mrs. So and So, how you doing? He
I
said,
had the
oh,
exact same thing.
oh, I don't speak to people that first year. He said, because I don't know if you're coming back. I'm not
I
wasting my
had
time
somebody
to know
the
somebody
exact
that's
same way. Matter of fact, she taught my same grade level. We had the same grade level. We had the same level of students on the grade level, same subject, same everything. Baby, she would sit. She was the one who used to sit in the department meetings, and she didn't pay no attention. She was just grading papers the whole time, just
He was
paid
the
no
same
attention
one. He graded papers. He
the
graded
whole
papers through
time.
every
They pay
meeting.
y'all
That's all he
nobody.
did.
They ask us something, I don't have nothing, and just keep on grading her papers and not being bothered. And she had the most well controlled. And I remember one time I asked her something, and she looked at me that first time. She looked at me. I don't have time right now. I have a class to teach, and kept it moving. I was like, this. I called her everything, but the child of
Right, right,
God.
right.
And then like a year or two later, she needed something from me, and she came, and I said, I'm gonna give you this because I'm not gonna do you like you do me. And she talked to me. She said, you know why I don't do nothing for people? She said, because so many times I'll give up all of my resources, pour myself into somebody, they leave or they don't say thank you or they act like I don't even exist. And then she said, I got tired of it. So I just stay to myself and keep all my stuff to myself. And she said, but I thank you, and we're gonna be good friends. And we became great friends after that. And people used to be like, how you talk to her? And I'd be like, she's real cool. She'd be like, don't tell him I'm cool. Just let them think I'm
That's how he was. Listen, that's how he was. I'm calling Mr. T. That's how T was. They used to be like, "You cool with him?" And the people who didn't get to know him were like, "That old racist." I said, "He ain't racist." I said, "He cool." I said, "He just really just don't mess with y'all." Like that's really what it
hmm
is. But the people who knew he was cool, they knew he was cool. But like I said, that first year, he did not speak to me. And I talked about that until he retired. Oh, I clowned him about that until the day he retired. He was like, "Look, I didn't know if he was coming back. I don't waste my energy on people that's gonna quit."
Yeah.
Anyways, listen, you guys head on over to El Teddy's place.
Yes,
He's getting ready to go live.
I have a
We already
politics
running
coming
late.
on.
Apologize. I will apologize to the class. That we over here running in our mouth. But if you are not a subscriber, y'all get over. It's L Teddy 27. If you are not already over there, but I know most of y'all probably are. But if you are new, y'all head on over there. He's going to get into the politics of it all, honey. And he listen. If you're not one that follow politics, it's okay because he's gonna break it down for you. Okay, he's gonna break it down for you. He's gonna give it to you. He's gonna show you why, how, and who it impacts. Okay, so y'all get on over to El Teddy's house. The hall monitors are going to give y'all some slack today because we late. Okay, but y'all need to
Yeah,
get on
I'm
up.
gonna give y'all some slack today. Hall monitors, yeah. We gonna a little bit of slack.
All right. With that being said, you guys, we are going to get out of here and we will talk to y'all later. Mwah. Peace. Boop, 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 bop, boop, boop.